once again. And on the lightning path, we're in a 5-bin lunation cycle. And I just wanted to set the context here. And you'll see that on the right image, there's our date, April 23rd, 2024. And it's pointing right to 5-bin. So this gives you a sense of where we are in the larger calendrical flow. And as we pass through the Temple of Eagles. Now, the whole of the image on the right is kind of encompassed by what we have on the left. And this is Barbara Nin's beautiful rendition of really the myth of the feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl, as they call him sometimes. So the whole of this lunation cycle journey is really a manifestation of the myth of the feathered serpent in the modern era. This is not something from the past so much as something in the present that is organic and unfolding day by day, and certainly moon cycle by moon cycle. And in the course of this journey, my own envisioning has prompted images like we see on the right-hand side here. And along with that come particular images. And you see Neptune there in the red circle on the right. And Neptune at that placement is aligned with moon cycle 4 Chikchan, the serpent energy, and within the temple of star harmony. Now, this particular orientation, looking to Neptune and its alignment to the lightning path, there's so far kind of a mysterious calling that I've been experiencing anyway around this particular manifestation. And it's something that I've learned to pay attention to, just to, in a sense, surrender to, like I'm being called forth. And to the extent that I surrender, to that extent, I'm receiving more and more information about what wants to come through me. So I'm sure you've had that experience as well in some depth of your imagination. It's definitely on the mental, spiritual kind of plateau at this point. But I think what's coming into being is some kind of cosmic convergence associated with Neptune's journey. And because Neptune is coming in the next year to that point in the zodiac that is both the end of Pisces, and the beginning of Aries. So this is the fundamental meeting ground for the past and the future that Zero Aries signifies. So a very auspicious time to be gazing forth into the mythic realm. And just wanted to share that context.
Well, that's great. Yes.
So as you will remember from our last session at New Moon, I had created a presentation based on a synchronicity that I experienced with Barbara Nin's divination. And we have here her hand holding the card for Manique. And the book I was reading, the cover of the book is what's behind her card here. And the title of that image on that book, is The Aquarian Door. And so becoming aware of these connections prompted me to go further because there was a presentation I did a couple of years ago based on all these different Aquarians showing up and being the foremost proponents of Bitcoin, which is still very new on the planet. And what I was discovering was that most of the proponents who were really out there were Aquarians. So this notion of the Aquarian door very, very much resonated with the work that I had done around that Bitcoin phenomenon. So it was quite an empowering engagement that I had then. This whole notion of surrendering to what is calling me forth, and so on that basis, I started assembling different resources, and of course, Rudyard shows up on the scene. He's so fundamental. His teaching is so fundamental to the whole of what the lightning path is about, because he has provided us with this very powerful ancient teaching around the lunation cycle. So the cycle of moon phases, from a new moon to a first quarter to a full moon and back to new moon. This is the synodic cycle of the moon. And as he says here, human experience is essentially cyclic, and it unfolds according to structural principles. Well, it's those structural principles that are constantly in action. And if we jump on board the lunation cycle at new moon, which we're prone to doing with these presentations, we can be conscious of the journey as it is overseen, let's say, by the lunation cycle. So at new moon, we have this emergence and the generation of a new tone. There's also a struggle from the past, the inertia of the past, with something new pushing up, into the waxing crescent, expansion, dynamic impetus, a challenge from outside. So that we have this new action. The analogy to that, or the metaphor, would be the sprout pushing up through the soil and gaining ascendance. Well, that has its limits. There's this first quarter challenge for really decisive and forceful expression. And if that challenge is met, then the plant moves on to the next stage and becomes more and more full until we get to the full moon, and then we have the blossoming, so to speak, of the whole initiative, whatever it is, and then we become engaged in a letting go process. The first half of the cycle is about building up form. From the seed idea, we're building organically through phase after phase some sort of form, which then becomes something that to be disseminated, so to be shared, to be brought forth into the world. And as a natural part of that process, there comes a time when there has to be a letting go of old forms in order to move on and be ready for the seeding of a new potential. So this whole cyclic journey, if you're a lunation journaler like myself, then every day you're potentially learning more about the structure of the lunation cycle and how it operates. And that I have found very, very helpful in my understanding, and very satisfying to have this ongoing journaling practice that keeps an organic togetherness happening. It's an integrated flow, and I like to think that that's good for my health. Just having this active engagement with a cosmic cycle. That's really what we're doing here. And it's a resonance thing. It's an archetype of organic unfoldment that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So as I was saying, we're in a 5 Ben lunation cycle. So the tone at the last new moon was pretty profound, with the huge what are we calling it? Jeez, I'm lost for words in this moment. The
coming of no, not the not the
when the moon and the sun came in the sky together.
That's the eclipse.
We had an eclipse of the moon. Oh
That's
man, it clips my mind.
Yep. Solar eclipse.
The
Solar
solar
eclipse.
eclipse, yeah.
Yes, right.
And wasn't that grand? I mean,
Yeah.
as you remember, during the session, Teresa came in at the end with, hey guys, NASA is showing this live stream right now, all across the
Right.
world, really. So there were literally millions of people coming
Mm.
up into this feeling of connectedness that was so transcendent to their daily lives.
Yeah.
And Barbara, who also goes by Shima, and her divination at the time, using the techniques that she has, were spot on. And
Mm.
and I don't know why, but I just felt compelled to create this image um, to honor her
Mm.
openness and really from the other part of what the lunation or the lightning path is all about. It's about each of us having a birthright of a temple of birth within the Mayan sacred Tzolkin calendar. So Barbara's temple of birth is the empowered human, and the glyph for it is at the bottom on the left there. So
Mm.
we got this person who's open, and
Mm.
as you did, you know, it's
Right.
it's a channel, and so Barbara has this capacity, and she surrenders to it periodically, and we get, she does a reading, and we're all blessed with what she is bringing through. So this is, and we're only halfway through this moon cycle, and there's been so much has come through. It really does. I think this eclipse really has galvanized a collective
Mm.
orientation to living a bigger life than we've been up to
Mm.
this point. There's so much more that can come forth when human
Mhm.
creativity is unleashed, and I really feel that this is we're at that kind of point in the whole evolution of this phenomenon. So all these keywords, we've got them: creative presentations, new and different items, blossoming, inventions, Bitcoin, new invention, uh,
Mm. Mhm.
jack of all trades, excitement ranging from states of austerity to being jovial, as above, so below. There's the eclipse, there's, it's above, we're below, and it's somehow all kind of woven together. Um,
Mhm.
Fully realized products using both sides of the brain. I like to think that my presentations are kind of arising from that, in my own work. I use a lot of imagery, uh, goes along with the text. That to me is like that left-right hemispheric balance.
Mhm.
It's really can help us to be productive. And then Ben, is the glyph of the Skywalker, and all about initiation to a higher level of consciousness, pillars of heaven and earth uniting, kind of that alignment factor that the eclipses always make so apparent. Um,
Mhm.
Working in harmony with others, certainly part of the journey. Balancing of opposites, fluid reference points, angelic messenger, time, space travel, understanding, knowledge, teaching. These are all the qualities of Ben, and
Mhm.
we're in
Mhm. We're in it. And I wanted to comment on your creation there, the Shima card that you did. That, yeah, that that captures a lot or says a lot. And it's so yeah,
Right
that's
on.
well done. Yeah.
One and Barbara has a habit of sending me some of her images very fresh, and I always so appreciate them. And they're getting more and more incredible. I mean, as she
Mm.
masters her skills in this she's got some new technology that she's working with, and yeah, they're
Right.
just brilliant. And
Right.
her channeling capacity, she's got this beautiful triangle in her chart. That's like very much a
A
direct
chat.
line.
Mm. Okay. Okay. So she's she sent you that image, like the woman there. You created the card, right?
Actually, that image
But-
of her is from her website.
Oh, okay, fair. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
But we've been hanging out for years now and sharing images, and it's just kind of a given that,
Right.
yeah, go ahead and use it, for whatever.
Of course, yeah. No,
Yeah.
no. That's well done. Yeah.
And it's just such a pleasure to have so much to work with. I mean, like that image of feathered serpent, that's one of her more recent ones. It's just when you get into it, I mean, the complexity. I'm so appreciate her capacity to draw this intricate detail imagery, and
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. Definitely being downloaded.
yeah, absolutely, you
Yeah.
got it.
Mm.
So Chiron was exactly conjunct the new moon. So this was the signature, which just amplifies that whole eclipse moment even further. The fact that Chiron was exactly there. So this is once again, kind of an indicator of this being a time of opening to a larger frame of reference, which the image on the left is certainly evokes. Now, this is an ancient wood block, and it really tells the story of the journey from the Saturnian ego through the Chiron factor into the great beyond of the outer planets. And as I've said here, Chiron guides the journey of ascension from one plane of consciousness to the next. This is especially apparent when one transcends the containment and sensuous physicality of the Saturnian ego, thereby entering into the ethereal vibratory resonances of the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So Chiron really is a very significant station on this higher journey of evolution, of ascension, basically. And if we can master Chiron in our chart, we're on our way. Now, just to go and maybe zoom out again, give a little more context. Lightning Path Astrology views the natal birth chart as a complex astro-mythological mandala, offering a plethora of inspiring insights and opportunities for personal growth. Drawn from both Western zodiacal symbolism and the vast treasury of Mesoamerican mythology consolidated in the Maya Tzolkin calendar, Lightning Path Astrology reveals multiple avenues of exploration for the ardent researcher. Unlike conventional astrology and its numerous house systems, which use the moment of a person's first breath and its geographic location as the fundamental orientation of a birth chart, Lightning Path Astrology discards both the often troublesome exact time of birth and the houses altogether. Instead, it simply maps sun, moon, and planets into the 12 signs of the zodiac as determined at local high noon on the day of birth. So this is a significant change in the orientation to the house system. This universal house-less natural chart approach thereby casts all natal charts into unitive, simultaneous, and synergistic alignment with each other and with the cardinal directions. According to this approach, there is no such thing as a house apart from a sign. There are only 12 consecutive stages of process counted from Zero Aries.
Yeah, that's I like that because my little delving into astrology that I'm doing, like the houses, just add a complication that I haven't been able to follow or really get into. But this this here, yeah, this is making more sense. You know, just the direction, like the directions, and just the signs, the zodiacal signs. Hmm.
You know, and what it's doing, and I shared with you before we started the session, what we're doing is orienting to Zero Aries, as if we were sitting between the paws of the Sphinx and gazing east. And
Okay.
every chart that we do is taken at high noon. So it's like we're all linked through the crown chakra. This is the way I'm kind of looking at it. We're all linked directly to Zero Aries. So this is a fundamental orientation, no matter where you are on the planet. We're using, to my mind, this is like the emergence chart for the new human, the new universal human. We're really embracing the earth as a whole, and we're orienting to this really ancient place in the circle of, well, the orbit of the planet. You know, and the fact that the Sphinx has been gazing east to the spring equinox, you know, for thousands of years. They keep pushing the dates back further and further because they're finding erosion at the base of the Sphinx that could only have happened if there had been major deluge of rain over a long period of time. And so it is just so fundamental to human awareness, you know, this one particular monument. So now it's like this is part of for me, part of the mystery around Neptune's passage now to that very primordial point. It's like I'm anticipating and experiencing, you know, a broadening of outlook, which is the nature of Neptune. I mean, it really is. It's the gas giant and all of that, but really very transcendent. So Zero Aries, after 50 years of astrological study, I have discontinued using house systems altogether. In their place, I use what are called Zero Aries or natural charts. And we see over on the right-hand side there, Mr. Natural.
Oh. I see.
From back in the 70s. I just loved it when he's arrived on the scene. Yeah. So the timing of this decision coincides with the now occurring transit of Neptune over this important zodiacal point. So that's where I stand on the matter.
Right. Oh, okay. Okay. Excellent.
And just to make this more graphic, you know, Neptune at Zero Aries. So the Neptune cycle on the right, we see that from its discovery in 1846 in Aquarius, in the next, 15, 20 years, it passed over Zero Aries and entered a new 163.9 year cycle, which is now the cycle that is coming to completion. So this has been the major swoop of Neptune through all the different signs and now coming down to the wire of this Zero Aries point. And that will be on March 31st, 2025. It'll be exact. It's certainly in range now. Neptune will conjoin exactly the Zero Aries point of the zodiac. This is only the second time it has done so since its discovery on September 23rd, which brings us into the axis, that east-west axis, the autumn equinox in 1846. So that in itself is a very interesting connection. The fact that it was discovered as it sat on the equinox line.
Right on the, yeah.
And another thing that's really significant here is that the discovery was based on mathematical calculations of Neptune's predicted position due to observed perturbations in the orbit of the planet Uranus. So the discovery was essentially mathematical, not somebody with a telescope out there checking things.
Oh, so
So I think that's
interesting.
an important factor in understanding the whole nature of Neptune, and
Mhm.
that we're definitely, you know, in the etheric, in the mathematical, you know,
R-
abstract, but
Right.
we can navigate. We can navigate using the math, and this is what I mean. The Mayans are famous for that. You know, I mean, they so much of their worldview was specifically mathematical, and people were engaged with the mathematics as a way of finding their way through life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In many respects, that's exactly what I'm doing too. So exploring Neptune at Zero Aries. Keywords: illusion, inspiration, dreams, fantasy, mysticism, intuition, sensitivity, confusion, sacrifice, deception, addiction,
Action,
erosion,
erosion,
compassion,
passion.
surrender, and bottom line, last but not least, the all.
Impermanence. Oh my goodness. Powerful words. Oh wow.
So there we are. The head of the Great Sphinx viewed in silhouette from the rear, gazing at the rising sun at dawn on the spring equinox. Oh, wouldn't I love to have that experience?
Oh
Actually
wow.
be there, right?
Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness me. So what about March? What about then the spring equinox in 2025?
Yeah, absolutely. Either be there or
Oh,
be part of the global networking of the event. I can
right.
totally see that happening.
Oh my
This would be
goodness.
the place, you know,
Right.
that's going to be front and center.
Oh, oh, I want to physically be there. Oh my goodness me. Okay.
So here, now beginning to apply the lightning path tools, or one of the tools, to this whole exploration. Um, this image of the eyes, I find really, I couldn't believe how resonant that was with what I was wanting to express here. We've got,
Mm,
as I'm seeing it, the right eye looking at it is that's your Pisces eye,
mm, mm,
and the left
right.
eye is the Aries eye.
Okay, right.
And these are
Yep.
archetypal eyes. You know, we have all the qualities uh, of each sign, you know, encoded into these eyes. Now, this is the integration left-right hemisphere of the brain as
Mm,
well.
mm,
Um,
mhm,
and you know, we are.
mm.
It's like Neptune's passing here along the eyebrow and coming to zero
Ah,
Aries, and then there will be, and we'll be moving from water into
mm,
fire.
fire.
And you know, there's um, famous book called A Burning Water by Laurette Sejourne, and it's all about, especially about Teotihuacan, Mesoamerica, and that they have a whole cosmology based on this notion of the integration of fire and water. This is a
Oh,
universal theme, as far as I'm concerned, and we're seeing it through the eyes of the lightning path. Now, the
mm,
tool
mm,
that we'll be using here in the next few panels is the Sabian symbols in astrology, which are a fairly recent invention, I guess we would call it. It was a channeled um, activity between Mark Edmund Jones, an astrologer in the last century, and a clairvoyant, Elsie Wheeler, who in one session or two sessions on one day, she channeled 360 images, archetypal images, that he consolidated into uh, the 360 degrees of the zodiac. And those
mm,
images and the text that he came up with have been refined since that time by different authors, Rudyard being one of them. And so in this moment now, we have maybe 5 or 6 different versions of the Sabian symbols, but they all go back to this early 360-degree congregation of symbolism. So when we go into that symbolism, on the right-hand side, as we see here, Pisces 30, the final keynote that in Rudyard's interpretation is archetypalization, which is this whole notion of embodying an archetype and bringing it into your life and having it guide your actions. So in the Pisces sector, we have that. Conversely, in the Aries quadrant, we have this impulse to be. And so when we go to, just as an aside here, this is James Burgess. Now, he has one of the very best Sabian symbol and astrology in general websites online. And his interpretations are just brilliant. And he's done an amazing job in consolidating all things Sabian symbol. And the way he relates to it is this: each of the 360 symbols and explanations can be seen as a life mystery. Each of us will have our own personal take on it, and this can be as valid as any attempt the author makes to give objective meaning. It all depends on how capable you are at opening the subtle, intuitive aspect of mind to unveil the mystery. And that's where Chiron comes in, this opening the subtle, intuitive aspect of mind. Chiron is the key into that realm. So I look at the astrological mandala as being a tool, a key, toolbox full of keys, and definitely very Chironic, as we say. So now specifically, that final degree, Pisces 30, the Sabian symbol is a majestic rock formation resembling a face, is idealized by a boy who takes it as his ideal of greatness, and as he grows up, begins to look like it. Keynote: the power of clearly visualized ideals to mold the life of the visualizer. Now, this is the final degree of the 360-degree process. So I just wanted to emphasize what it has to say to us, because this is fundamental to the whole of the work, is this notion of imaging forth. That's the future, is for not for humanity to wait around for the globalists to figure it all out for us and provide a life for us. We as individuals need to image forth the life that we want and bring that into manifestation. And it doesn't have to be through force. This is the journey of ascension. This is the last stage of the last scene of the great ritual play of cyclic transformations. It brings to us a realization of the power of archetypes as factors conditioning life processes. Thus, we could use as a final keyword archetypalization. So just to bear that in mind when we're working with any of these symbols. So when we go from that, having that orientation to life, to then step into, to go from Pisces 30 into Aries 1, that's a big, big step. And if we get that right, we're going to continue to make that kind of step all the way along. So just once again, to emphasize, archetypalization refers to the process of representing or embodying something as an archetype, a fundamental pattern, symbol, or prototype that recurs in literature, mythology, religion, and other cultural contexts. This process helps to simplify complex ideas or characters by associating them with recognizable patterns or symbols. And so that's exactly what Rudyard has done for each degree. He's done a text version. When you go to James Burgess' website, you'll get not only the text, but an image created by, I can't remember, it's a Japanese artist. I can't remember her name. But you have then the balance of the image and the text. So that is such an important orientation to have, this archetypalization. So when we move into the first degree of Aries, well, this has got to be something special. I mean, this is the start of the whole new 360-degree journey. We get a woman, and I can't see behind, just risen from the sea. A seal is embracing her. So it's all about the emergence of new forms and of the potentiality of consciousness. As we say, or as Rudyard has said here, this is the first of the 360 phases of a universal and multi-level cyclic process, which aims at the actualization of a particular set of potentialities. These potentialities in the Sabian symbols refer to the development of man's individualized consciousness, the consciousness of being an individual person with a place and function, a destiny in the planetary organism of the Earth, and in a particular type of human society and culture. This symbol characterizes the first of 5 stages, which are repeated at 3 levels. This stage represents the initial statement or theme of the 5-fold series, which refers to the first level, which is impulse to be. So this is very primordial, fundamental orientation. Aries is, so to speak, ruled by Mars. So I have the Martian here with his symbol and his gear, and it's like that get up and go, and it's grounded in the physical body, and it's about opening to the new with some personal force, behind it, like really the ram is often related to not only to Aries but to Mars. And
what can I ask?
Before we move on,
go ahead.
Another rendition of Mars,
let's see.
love.
Let's see that.
So we have Snoopy on red skis.
With Snoopy.
So that get up and go, that's what we're talking about here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the energy of Snoopy on skis.
Yeah.
So the symbol characterizes the first of 5 stages. Now,
yes. Now this is where, with Rudyard's version of the astrological mandala of the 360 Sabian symbols, he has there's the stages, and then there's the mini stages within the stages. So it's definitely a multi-level journey that he's mapped out there. So this takes study. This is I personally spent 1 complete year going through the astrological mandala, with 1 degree per day. And I'll tell you, that was a fascinating journey. By the time I got to the 360, that was like, wow. He developed it that way. He laid it out so that we would get it in stages and get that, we're here to open up to something tremendous, our innate potentiality, which is way beyond what society is going to ever ascribe to us. This is all about the individual organism knowing what its truth is and bringing that truth into the world.
Yeah.
So looking again then to Chiron, and now more specifically, Chiron in the birth chart. I've used my own chart here as an example. Astrologically, Chiron is associated with healing, wounds, and the journey towards psychic wholeness, which is always fraught with peril and wounding. But we've all got Chiron somewhere in our chart. And I don't like to dwell on this notion of the wound, like Chiron indicates your wound, this fundamental wound. I'm not so sure about that. It to me, it's the key factor is important. Chiron as the key to the larger dimensions of life. And as it turns out, for myself, Chiron is exactly conjunct the asteroid Vesta. So I got a twofer here when it
Okay.
comes to Chiron.
Okay.
And they have similar themes. So Chiron at Sagittarius, 7 degrees, 21 minutes. And I just want to say here, if you're working with the Sabian symbols, always round up to the next whole degree.
Right.
That's a very
Right.
important distinction. So
You would round up to 8.
8, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
8, you
Yeah.
go to the book, you go to Chiron, or
Yeah.
Sagittarius 8.
Okay. Yeah.
And when you do that, in my case, you get this image within the depths of the earth, new elements are being formed. Keynote, the alchemical fire, which both purifies and transforms the very substance of man's inner life. Forces are at work in the deepest layers of the psyche, which in their own way respond to the outer stimulation produced by a strong involvement in group ambitions and emotions, and even more by the powerful tensions and releases of love. An alchemical process goes on, usually unnoticed by the conscious ego, until it becomes obvious that a kind of mutation has taken place and a new level of awareness and of responses to life has been reached. I got to say, I've
Wow.
had that experience a number of times. I believe this is, this
It,
is a really valid representation of
it's
this degree.
yeah. Yeah. I think it comes through for sure. If this is yours, it's like, oh yeah, that resonates.
This, new level of awareness. For me, the key signature of that is because I play a guitar. I only improvise. I never. I, my wound. I can't remember songs, but I can remember grooves. I can get in the groove again, and that's the way I generate my music. And invariably, a shifting consciousness means I'm going to get a new groove out of this. So I've had that a number of times, that experience, and I always I just really appreciate when I kind of get that. Oh, yeah, I am in a new place, and yeah, here comes a new song. It's great.
Going wonderful. Yes.
So here again, Rudyard is referring to the fivefold sequence. That extra level of depth of the symbol. At this third stage of the fivefold sequence, we deal with both the basic rhythm of growth of the human being and the reaction to more individualized experiences, which aroused the emotions. The very substance of the person's nature undergoes modifications, on the basis of which a new step may be taken. Symbol draws our attention to the inner changes. We have to become aware of them. What is implied here is a kind of psychic gestation.
Wow. Wow. There you go.
So there's something for me to ponder, and exploring my chart is like, okay, can you take all this in? Does this feel right? Are you aligned with this kind of beingness? And I got to
Wow.
say, I think, I really know this guy,
I guess. I mean, oh my God,
the
powerful.
alchemist at work, fanning the flames of the quest for knowledge and the inevitable transformation in consciousness that comes with,
Powerful, powerful images. It says
the
that
focus required. And
yeah, yeah. That says a lot.
so now Vesta
Hey,
is
Vesta.
one of the four main goddess archetypes in astrology. And we're now moving to Sagittarius 8, is that right? No, I'm sorry, it's wrong
Yeah,
at the bottom. It should be Sagittarius 5.
5 is, yeah, right.
But it
Okay.
is an old owl sits alone on the branch of a large tree. So that's a very interesting symbol to get in combined with what we've seen for Chiron. So here I think they work together quite well. Just to back up that alchemical chirotic impulse, I've got Vesta kicking in, devotion, dedication, focus. You just look back at that image of the guy, he's focused on
He's
the bellows there,
on that fire.
fire going, commitment. I think I'm capable of making commitments. Sacred, priestess, ritual, service, self-discipline, inner flame. Definitely feel it. Spiritual practice. I've emphasized this whole lunation journal practice, work ethic, sacrifice. I know that integration, concentration, single-mindedness, holistic healing, inner peace, independence, boundaries. Boundary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what is Vesta? Well, Vesta, and this is a great book, Asteroid Goddesses by Demetra George. This is the one that I learned about the four faces of the fundamental feminine and protector of the hearth. Vesta, we hear about the Vestal virgins, from back in the Roman times. Focus and stability. So again, amplifying that. Community and civic life. There is a whole dimension there where, Vesta moves out and is received by the community, and the values that she holds, are perpetuated. Guardian of boundaries. She is virgin unto herself. She's overall, Vesta embodied the values of home, family, purity, and community, making her a central figure in Roman religious and social life. And there's the glyph for Vesta on the left there. So she's got her channel and she sticks to it. Guard keeps the hearth.
The home fires.
And on that note, about 20 years ago, maybe more, I was living, it was when I was living in Bragg Creek, west of Calgary, in a little cabin in the woods. And fire was a big part of living in that cabin in the winter at 30 below. But it felt so vital to me that I literally made a declaration standing in front of that fire. And I just declared to all and sundry that I would always live in a home that had a fireplace. That was a prerequisite. And I just made that so affirmative. And I've managed to keep that intention alive ever since. And it's just a really important part of who I am, And then to discover, okay, Vesta conjunct Chiron, I see it. That's the signature of importance in this particular chart. So
right on. Right on. Yeah. You've been on the path right from the beginning.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that, in sharing this way, I'm giving people ideas about how they can explore their own chart, I mean, you don't have to wait. You
Mhm.
don't have to go to an astrologer to tell you what's going on. I urge people to take it on yourself. Learn the tools so that you're having direct experience with the knowledge rather than it coming secondhand from somebody else. Somebody else is going to tell you a good story based on their understanding, and yeah, go for it, but don't just rely on that. Get into the tools of it, the the Chiron factor, and there's
Yeah.
lots of websites certainly that provide the tools, and freely too, like astroseek.com, astrotheme, astro.com. These are all websites that everything's free for you. I mean, you can pay to have readings and so on, but you've also got all these tools lined up. So, and of course, the astrological mandala, Rudyard's version of the Sabian symbols, it can be consulted just like we consult the I Ching by throwing the coins.
Mhm.
Rudyard discusses that whole way of using the mandala aside from the birth chart, so that it's just like the I Ching. It's just an ubiquitous presence of consciousness that you can access. I mean, even to the point of just having your question in mind, opening your book, and what's the reading on that page, like a synchronistic kind of approach.
Mhm. Mhm.
And especially if you resonate with the keywords or the keynote as described by Roger and Mark Edmund Jones and so on. If you
Mhm.
really resonate with that, then um, yeah.
And that's excellent for you to sort of repeat that or put that forward again. Is that because that's what I've had readings in the past, and my tendency has been to give that over to someone else. Kind of, it's just been the past while starting to, with your help or these Zooms and whatnot, to go have my chart printed off again, have it here. You did, the Zero Aries but so it's excellent advice, and I appreciate that, and that's kind of what I'm finding out too. Like, it's for me to discover, this is my chart, is for me to work with and discover, yeah, how it, for me,
Yeah,
how it works or what I find out and whatnot. So yeah,
right on.
so very good. So true. So thanks for that reminder as well.
Yeah, well, and thanks for that feedback. I really appreciate it. I'm
Mm.
glad you're doing that. So just to wrap things up, the last word.
What's the last word gonna be?
A wise old owl sat on an oak. The more he saw, the less he spoke. The less he spoke, the more he heard. Why aren't we like that wise old bird? I just couldn't resist. I had to include this.
Of course, you did that. Perfect. Perfect. Yes.
I mean,
Because
if this is exemplifies to all who are watching this, how much fun exploring your birth chart can be. I mean, go for it, guys. It's really a blast. And we have so much. To us. Type in, wise old owl, and
right.
this is what you're going to get, and more, and thousands of pages more.
Right.
And images
Because
by the bushel. It's all there waiting. And
yeah. Because wasn't that the Sabian symbol for Vesta?
yes,
That
that's my
was the
best.
wise Vesta, I mean.
Yeah,
Owl on the, yeah. Okay, excellent.
yeah.
Oh yeah, so much. There's just so much. Yeah. Mhm. Well,
So thank you, Thunder Sister, for you know, pulling in here. And I'll stop the machine now and we can continue our discussion.
right.
Yeah.
And to thank you, yeah, for an excellent presentation again, Dwayne.
Oh, my pleasure.
Hmm.
There goes my Pallas Athena swinging by.
Okay.
That's
There.
that's a whole other journey, which is
Oh
really
dear.
an eye opener too. I love it. Now to get there.
When,
Hey, we're back.
okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's a full journey again. Yeah. Yeah, lots there, lots of food for thought, lots of yeah, yeah, yeah. It makes me now I'll go into my Sabian symbols again. I think I did when you were talking Sabian symbols in one of your other presentations. I'd gone into Burgess, James Burgess uh, site. So I think I will do that
What do we
again.
want?
That's
Do
what,
you want to do some exploring right now? You on
oh,
your chart?
sure,
I mean,
sure.
let's that was what I had put out was let's look at our
Oh, right.
Chiron in our charts. And you and I mean, we're
I
born in the same lunar cycle, but
right.
there's, I don't know, 12 or 14 degrees between us.
Well, it's actually it's not that much because my Chiron, yeah, in my birth chart is 8 Sag.
It's rounded up to 8.
Well, no, it's 8, so I guess I'd have to round it up to 9.
Well, so what exactly is it? 8 degrees and minutes?
Well, let's see here. See on this chart that's printed out. Just a minute. Here. What does it say? So my Zero Aries charts that I had printed out. What? Just give me this kind of. Chiron is 8 degrees 5 minutes.
Okay, so that would be, yeah, the 9th degree. So you're right next door to me,
Okay,
but there's that
so
one.
let's see what that Chiron. Let's write that down. Chiron. Big symbol.
Oh yeah, this is a lovely one. Have you checked this out before?
No, no, I haven't checked out this one. No. So, oh, okay.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, I've got it here from
Oh,
the astrological mandala. This is
okay.
one of the versions I bought in 1973 when it came out. And I've had
That's
to
that.
rebuild it in places.
I'd say that's a yes. That's got history.
So Sagittarius 9, a mother leads her small child step by step up a steep stairway. Ascension.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay.
Keynote, the need in any social situation to assist the less evolved in their management of the problems which society requires its members to solve. A staircase does not present a natural difficulty to a very young child. Man builds stairs and therefore is responsible for assisting the child to climb them step by step. Social and cultural living is not natural. The child must first be taught by example, then helped along as he imitates, as well as he can, the grown-up's behavior. Climbing stairs is only an illustration of a general process. Every generation must involve itself in teaching the next even the simplest skills needed for social existence. At this fourth stage, we saw parents encouraging, at the fourth stage, we saw parents encouraging a little child to walk. So he's talking about a previous one.
Previous, I guess, eh? Yeah.
Walking is a natural human function. Climbing stairs is a skill made necessary by the building of several storied houses, a product of civilization. What is implied here is social concern for the less evolved of society's members.
So a teaching, kind of in a teaching role. Well, I guess it could be one or the other, as the teacher or as the child.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, I like the symbol, and
Now, if I was jumping in,
yeah,
for
please.
myself, I would go right to James Burgess, to that site.
Right. Right.
Not only has he got great text and imagery, he's been doing a little video for each degree with his own spontaneous insights, and he's very erudite, I would say. And so he'll have a reading for this particular degree. That will
Okay.
draw on his Sufi background, and very expansive and compassionate, and so on.
Well, I will definitely be going to James Burgess to have a go at that. And I think with Vesta, would we not be the same because of the proximity? Now, what did it say on mine? Because I'm with 8, with my Chiron being Sag 8 degrees. Yours was 7, right? Sag 7?
Well, I got mixed up there with what I did.
Because Vesta, your Chiron and Vesta were pretty much conjunct, I think.
Yes. And you have yours showing your Vesta there?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't on this one. It doesn't show. It doesn't show Vesta.
Okay, so you have to recalculate and then choose to show.
Should
There'll be a checkbox for asteroids or
right. Okay. 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 I will.
But yeah, it should be fairly close.
Well, I'll check that out with. Yeah. And
I have James Burgess on the line.
oh well.
No, am I smart enough to have us look at it together?
Okay, well let's call in James Burgess then into this conversation here.
Yes, and I have done in the past, and he showed up, and it was great.
Oh, okay. Well, let's try that.
But yeah, I'm not going for him personally today, but I think I can share with you. Let's see. Do you see it there?
I do. Yes, I do. Yeah, mother. Yeah.
Oh, great.
I do.
Okay, well, there's the image by. Oh, I guess it doesn't have the gal's name there, but
okay.
Yeah, I really like her essentialization of the keynotes with each glyph. But down here, here's the videos. Would you like to watch the video?
Oh, yeah, sure. If you're okay with that, sure. Let's do it.
You bet.
They're probably fairly short, or
yeah.
Well, anyway, sure.
Okay, here we go.
See what he has to say about Sag 9.
Can you hear?
Mother with her children on the
Yep.
stairs.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, our species invented stairs. It's evidence of civilization. And the existence of stairs necessitates training children in particular, but all of us generally, in social skills. If there is civilization, then we have to learn how to become civilized. And the first task, really, of a mother, usually, but parenting generally, is to train the baby in social skills. Skills which enable us all eventually to live harmoniously together. And these range from potty training on the one hand to elegant diplomacy and ambiguous banter at the highest end. So we learn how to navigate our way through life without upsetting people too much. And that's not necessarily a question of being polite or courteous, it's a question of stability and security in the first place, personally, because if we upset people too much, then we'll pay a penalty, which can be quite severe. So the existence of civilization requires there to be training of kids in particular, but all of us generally. And therefore, the mother principle develops as a principle of one who serves. And the idea of an archetype of service, which the mother certainly includes, is what we're studying here. It's not so much the mother or the child or civilization, stairs and so on. It's the archetype of service that has arisen in our culture because we're a civilized culture. When we study service, we come to a very interesting conclusion. It seems as though the servant is giving to the one served. And it's probable that the reverse is true, that the one in service is gaining more than the one who is served. If we think about what we learn when we're in service, if you have a role as a mother or as a willing participating father, then you'll have developed skills of reading what's going on in the secret processes of the baby's mind and anticipating what their needs are by giving them what they need immediately or just before they recognize the need themselves. So you actually put your own mind into the mind of another. This is the golden rule. It's called reflexive self-consciousness, being able to see through the eyes of another, especially to see your own self, what you're doing. But in this case, we're actually training in this supreme ability of understanding life through someone else's eyes and knowing what is going on in their mind is only really proved when we serve them. So if the baby actually is screaming loudly because it's cold and you stuff a bottle of milk in its mouth, that's actually more harmful. That'll set up a need for later therapy. You have to understand what the baby needs if you want to stop it screaming. And if you give it something which is going to stop it screaming, which is not going to identify with its needs, then you're not getting the point. So this real subtle level of learning how to serve really elegantly well is implied within this degree. How do we serve? Can we serve so that the recipient of our service is unaware that we've actually done the necessary moment by moment? They might work it out later. Can we actually be that elegant? And can we take that idea of service, not from one person to another, but from us at the level of soul to the level of humanity, to the level of the planet also? can we actually take our ability to tune into the needs of the moment to a higher and a higher and a highest level, so that we have become completely aware of why we're here? Why is it me in this particular situation, in this particular time, right now, today, here and now, with these people in my life? Why? What's that for? And the answer is so that we can respond appropriately to the needs of the situation, so that we can serve the situation. And this ability to respond is our responsibility. We have taken on the burden of responsibility, having incarnated, and we're not given a list of instructions about what that responsibility is. A part of our responsibility is to learn how to be responsible. And this means being able to respond to situations. And we need to train ourselves on all sorts of levels to do that. One of the levels is, as I've just said, acuity is called, just noticing everything and anticipating where that track is leading. So if the baby is getting restless and perhaps the cheeks are getting red and you can see signs, you know where that's going. The child's just about to get fractious because it's too tired. What do you do about that? Well, work that out for yourself. A lot of people stick them in front of the telly until they go to sleep. That might or might not be helpful in some situations. But if we can take that idea now into our normal adult life and we just sort of notice what's going on and where that track is leading, so what must be coming up. For example, the COVID restrictions of 2020 have made a lot of people aware of their children's need for education, which is not being fulfilled. And so there's a huge increase in the popularity of homeschooling. I think in England it's gone up by 38%. That's therefore the track. Where is that leading? Well, that's leading to a greater demand for people who can respond to homeschooling needs. Another track is that fewer people are now going to high street shops. So that increases the demand for mail order retailing and so on. So on the commercial level, you make a lot of money if you anticipate that. And on the social level, you find yourself well placed in society if you can do that. So we can see the track of where life is going and where our own life is taking us. And therefore we can anticipate what's best to do now so that we're ready when the time comes for the demand to be supplied. In a sense, that is a side benefit. The major purpose of this degree is to talk about the question of, am I my brother's keeper? These are biblical words. And these words were given in the Bible in a cynical way. Am I my brother's keeper? In other words, what's it got to do with me? It's not my business. Well, we can change that. Am I my brother's keeper? Instead of seeing that as a refutation of the requirement of service, we could actually turn it around. Have I done well enough to be able to keep my brother, my sister, everyone out of harm's way, keep them from being distressed? Have I actually earned that privilege in life where I have developed the ability to serve another? Am I yet my brother's keeper? Have I reached that goal in life to be that willing and capable of grand spiritual service that I'm actually one with the archetype of service? It is by no means a requirement for us to serve. This is a voluntary choice. It is not more spiritual, particularly, to have an attitude of service. If that's not within your destiny, it would be wrong to do that. You'd be inauthentic if you're offering service, if you're not naturally one who is there to offer service. However, those who learn how to serve and who enthuse about service, they tend to progress rather more quickly along the spiritual path. And if you do progress spiritually, you'll find life smoother and more abundant and more joyful. And you find, therefore, that service is not something that you spend on others as an act of self-sacrifice at all. That's a really silly, wrong interpretation of what service is. It's silly because it's self-defeating. People get into the mindset eventually of, all I ever do is serve anybody else's needs. That self-pity is so self-destructive. Service is a tremendous opportunity for us to accelerate our spiritual process. I'm often, or frequently anyway, asked, well, why do I do so many favors for people? I offer to take people to the airport or whatever. Whomever I can serve, I try and take that opportunity to serve. People have misunderstood entirely why I'm doing it. You know, I'm not that altruistic. I hope I'm not altruistic at all. I don't believe in it. I'm self-serving because whatever I give is bound to come back to me. And if I have a surplus energy now, I want to give it so that later when I have a deficit, it'll come back to me. It's self-serving.
Whoa. My goodness me.
You bet.
Wow. What a download that was. Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
every one of his interpretations is loaded. Yeah, so
oh my goodness me. Wow. Wow.
the archetype of service, that just blends so beautifully with the earlier part of the presentation, you know, around archetypalization. That's what, you know, that's
Mm-hmm.
broadly what is called for at this time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Well, that, I mean, yeah, thank you for sharing that. It was nice to be together and share that. And as you say, it just kind of was very, it's kind of put a whole wholesome around this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Hmm. The archetype of service. Yeah, so good to hear that. His description, his words and stuff. Wow. Perfect.
I noticed early on in the presentation, there was a phrase came up about a training that he facilitates in the. Yeah, I'll have to check it out
Oh.
again. But it's basically his mystery school, I guess,
Oh, okay.
offering.
Okay.
I think it's an online thing. I don't know if there's direct interaction with him on that, or whether it's, you know, through past presentations or not. But yeah, there's a lot, you know, packed into his website there. And we just, you know, a little scratch on the surface.
Well, yeah. Oh my goodness me. Yeah, that would be, yeah.
And, you know, not everybody resonates with the saving symbols. In fact, Barbara, she finds that they don't speak to her, you know, like the tarot does, for example.
Right, right,
So
right.
yeah, it's you know, Rudyard described it as a contemporary I Ching. You know, it's got symbolism that's grounded in the present era, and some people go vibe with it, and some people don't. You know. So,
Mhm. Well, to
again,
have his videos or to have his explanation, like to have him on a video explaining it, and you know, so I mean that just puts a whole other aspect to it that makes it more wholesome and more. So yeah, for sure, that means a lot or adds a lot.
Yeah.
you know, to hear his explanation of it. So that's very good.
So the next step for you is to determine where your asteroids are. Or your asteroid goddesses.
Okay,
'Cause
and
there's
so,
there's the
yeah,
four.
okay.
There's the main.
And so that that is through a chart and then I request, is that
Yeah, there will be
that
a
how,
checkbox down in the, the add-ons or whatever. I can't remember what they refer to
right,
at the bottom, but
okay,
should be able to get that, try that out of it.
okay, 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 the asteroids, okay. In my chart, okay, all right.
And just for a future reference, while you're at it, see if you can get asteroid 433, I think it is, which is Eros.
Okay.
I hope to do a presentation on asteroid Eros. It's like your passion button.
Oh my God, but oh, that makes sense. 433 is the number,
I think it's 433.
but it's Eros.
Yeah.
E-R-O. Okay,
And of course, that's just the start of a process. But
right.
that's a great, like I say, the passion button. I've
Okay.
played around with this with groups in the past, and it's really quite fun because it's
Oh,
real.
oh.
That's
Aha.
the way I relate anyway.
Okay, I
Really,
like.
yeah.
So can you give me a little a peek into that? What's your what's your passion button there, Dwayne?
Well, yeah, there's galactic center.
Oh, I
Of all
see.
the places it could be, it ends up being at galactic center.
Oh,
One of the
yeah.
biggest passions in my life has been the Mayan calendar teaching, which is all the cosmology built around galactic center.
Hmm. Wow. Like, duh.
Actually, I discovered that actually at the same time that I came into the Chiron archetype.
Hmm. Hmm.
That was back, in the 70s or early 80s. And I was at a conference in Banff, an astrology conference for the conjunction of Saturn and Uranus. And Demetra George, who's the gal I recommended, was at the conference. And I had a personal reading with her. And it's out of that reading that came the realization that my Eros was at galactic center. And that was just such a
Well,
good time. I mean,
like,
it just, wow, there's a lot going on here.
oh,
That's what's waiting for us. Every one of our charts has gems embedded, and
mhm,
it's just,
mhm,
I guess
mhm,
I'm the kind of guy anyway that gets excited about that. And that's the thing. If your Eros is in
yeah,
Sagittarius, then it's what's fundamental here? What are the principles involved? That's what I want to get to, and
mhm,
dig deep for that kind of knowledge. And yeah, that flames me
mhm,
forth. Keeps me on
mhm,
track in a big way.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, well, those are good. It's good, food for thought for you, like you presenting, your journey and your information and your suggestions and all of this i- is excellent. So it's sort of at the beginning, way back. We've kind of gone. The journey has gotten to more of a sort of a personal sharing space, like, but from your journey, it's kind of almost overwhelming because you've been on it for so long and it's so intense and so big, which is incredible for sure. But then gleaning bits and pieces of that, of your journey and your information and what you're sort of passing on or suggesting or showing people what, yeah, yeah, to get on their own journey or get more connected to
Exactly.
their own journey
Yeah.
and what that's about. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah. So then that's, yeah, appreciated. And yes. And
Thank you.
yeah, and yeah. And well done for sure. So, because those steps, that would be, as you say, the next one for me, you're suggesting, and is looking up the asteroids, see where the asteroids are in my chart and kind of
Yeah.
see what that's, yeah. I
And
want to
like a
find.
fine-tuning of the archetypal energies, that's
Yeah. Because definitely if it's related to the passion center, that's got to be discovered or, or or delved into, dig.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would be interested to see what you come up with.
Yeah. And that was still on my mind too, and appreciate, and I'll go back to recording when I time the chart that you gave with the directions, north and Sphinx facing east, and that little thing you gave of the equinox, how it goes to the, yeah. That resonates too. There's just something powerful there for me to be with more, is from that perspective.
Right on. I'm
Yeah.
glad you've said that. And I wanted to share this. This is a little diagram I've put together of this whole Zero Aries. So this would be Zero Aries.
Right.
And this is an Egyptian image, which I feel is directly resonant with what I'm looking at here with this gaze of the Sphinx. This is when I shared earlier, this is like if this is Zero Aries, then this is the summer solstice. This is the winter solstice.
Winter solstice, yeah.
And then your equinoxes. This image, I need to do more study of it.
Okay.
It says Aker there.
Okay, yeah.
Very interested in this archetype. What is this? What did this archetype mean to the Egyptians? I have a feeling it's exactly the same thing as I'm dealing with here. But you'll see that I've got names here and I've got symbols beside them. And these are my research vector was, okay, so who has planets in this zone according to their natal birth chart? So I went through tons of old charts that I have in my collection. And I pulled out, for example, we've got Russell Brand. I don't know if you know Russell Brand.
Oh, yes, I know Russell. Well, I mean, yeah.
Russell's right on Zero Aries. His palace Athena, which is the wisdom keeper and the creativity and so on.
Okay.
He's right there. David Hawkins, the psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever, mystic, he's right in there with Jupiter at Zero Aries.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And his whole teaching is so expansive about empowerment and psychological well-being and so on. On and on they go. And Gandhi, his Chiron at 2 degrees of Aries. So then we start branching out into the Aries territory, and Rudyard shows up. His sun is there.
Okay.
At the 3rd degree of Aries.
Okay.
Hawkins, he's there once again with his Uranus. So I really see his teachings as being very relevant to this upcoming era. I mean, the books that he wrote before he died, there's 8 or 9 volumes, and it's just so resonant with this whole notion of expanding consciousness and archetypalization. So I'll be interested to start fleshing this out, in presentations, and just explore it. Something's coming down here. What is it?
Wow.
Keep pulling on the threads.
Right. So in the okay, so so Aries. So in one's birth chart, in one's natal birth chart, your you're looking at the 0 degrees Aries.
Yeah.
Like what?
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, in lightning path astrology, we're only looking at charts that are using 0 Aries as the fundamental reference point.
Right.
There's no
Right.
houses to confuse us. There's no worry about what was the exact time of birth.
Right.
All
Right.
that stuff. From my intuitive journey, that they just get in the way. It's just like this fog that comes in, and I just have to
Mm, mm,
when I go with the
mhm.
0 Aries chart, which puts your vertical axis right on galactic center, basically. I mean, the zone. Galactic center is at Sagittarius 27 degrees. Well, that's your vertical axis in the lightning path 0 Aries
Right.
chart. And that
Right.
feels right. Like that's the axis of power, the vertical axis. So we're all subsumed within the radiance of the galactic center. The Maya call it Hunab Ku, the one giver of movement and measure. So
Hmm.
it's like the basic ground of all of our existence, going out to the galactic level,
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, when you find, oh, I got a planet sitting right up there next to that galactic center, or I've got an asteroid, like that's, yeah,
Uh,
I'll plug in there.
right. All
I'll
right.
allow that to fuel my imagination, and fuel my intuitive capacity. Because it takes work. I mean, you've got to open up to it, and you got to be prepared to surrender into it if you
Hmm.
want to get what's there. So that's the
Right.
whole thing of of diminishing the power of the ego. I mean, the ego is needed up to a point, and then it becomes a constriction. So we want to be able to push beyond that, and that's your Chiron. That's the Chironic
Hmm.
key comes in.
Hmm.
I mean, people go beyond it by calamity. That's one
Yeah.
way. You just wait. You don't work on yourself or anything. You don't take any care in that way, and then it comes in and zaps you, and yeah, you're flat busted. Whereas with the proactive chironic approach, you are seeking out tools, divinatory tools that allow you step by step and at a different pace altogether to transcend those limitations.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's the true value of Chiron, as far as I'm concerned.
Hmm. Hmm. So just one other question on this chart, the 0 Aries chart.
Yep.
In my 0 Aries chart, it's the only thing for me, my where does that show that? It doesn't, my north node, the only thing in Aries with my 0 Aries chart, my north node is 29 degrees Aries.
Is it 29 plus minutes or just 28
Let's see.
plus?
Well, yeah, just a minute. Where does it show here? In Aries. Oh no, on this chart it's different. What's this one? True north. On this one it's 27. Let's see. Here's on 0 Aries, it's 29 degrees 3 minutes
Okay, so
of
30
Aries.
degrees, Aries 30 degrees, the final degree of Aries,
Of
which is
Aries.
exactly the same as mine. So
Oh, I guess
we're,
yeah.
we're both on track with this same
Okay, right.
karma factor. And
Right.
Are you aware of what the symbol actually is, the saving symbol?
For the what? For that degree? No, I don't. No, I am not. So, oh, hey, let's go there.
A duck pond and its brood. The realization of natural boundaries. After the preceding symbol, which was the music of the spheres, this may seem anticlimactic. What is shown here is that every form of activity has its limits, and that even the consciousness that has been able to get a glimpse of universal order has to bring down to its own karmic field of operation the message of harmony it has heard inwardly. peace and inner contentment with one's essential destiny or dharma is required to meet the everyday world. The mystic may experience flights of imagination and transcendent vision, but he must return to the concrete earth and to his task in his social environment. Extensive as the latter may seem, it is still very small compared to the galactic field. It is indeed a duck pond compared to the ocean. But it is there that the substance for concrete action has to be found, and every effective activity has to be focused. Thus, the boundaries imposed by the very nature of this activity have to be consciously accepted. Final keynote, focalization.
Oh dear.
I mean, doesn't that, I mean, I just love it that I live in this little village in the edge of nowhere, 200 people. And this is, yeah, it's exactly right. There's limitations, there's natural limitations, but
Yes.
I'm bringing it down. Now, on that note,
Yes.
I'm also aware of, in the broader span surrounding our village, I call it Upper Spence's Bridge, because looking out my kitchen window is the ravine. Well, you've been here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Behind the
Yep.
big poplar tree, there's a ravine that goes up and up and up and up. It's very steep. I climbed it last summer on the hottest day of the year with a pack on for overnight. But what I discovered up there is a naturally formed stupa. You know, a stupa is well, I think of it as a spiritual symbol of, the whole galactic,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, all that
Mm-hmm.
funnels down. So, or you've got this funnel and then it gets wider at the bottom. And I got a photo of it and I went online and I typed in stupa and I came up with this village where they had modeled the stupa form that comes naturally, and they had made a whole village of habitations, each of which was the stupa. So this stupa now up on that crazy prominence up there has my attention and is calling once again for me to ascend to the stupa, and
Mm-hmm.
just, there's
Mm-hmm.
more. There's the more
Mm-hmm.
in this environment, and I'll tell you that night I slept out, and I'd been reading the book The Mystery of the Sphinx by
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember, Graham Hancock.
Hancock. Okay. Okay.
And there's this whole thing that he describes that relates to the Sphinx and its orientation and the passage of Sirius through the night sky and the Pleiades. And there's this whole point of view that's fixed by the Sphinx. Well, I'll tell you, that night up on the hill there was a way that, like, I woke up and I looked to the east, and there it was. The whole pageantry was there. There was Sirius had climbed up. There was, well, what else? Well, I can't remember the exact other signatures, but it was all there. And I'm like, it just gave me this incredible, um, I don't know, this feeling of ginormity and yet simplicity. Like it's all here right now, and I don't have to go to Europe to Egypt, and I don't have to go to Tibet, for the stupa experience. It's already sitting here right in my backyard, but I have to make the ascent.
Mm.
Now, check my Venus. Maybe your Venus is exactly the same. It's a pilgrimage up a mountain to a mountain shrine. Oh,
Oh.
yet again, the Sabian symbols, the archetypalization, and then the bringing into form, and for something like this, it's just about showing up and witnessing it, and then take inspiration from
Right.
that and do whatever, I don't know, we're going to put up prayer flags, or we're going to offer crystals back to the earth, or, there's kind of some organic, appropriate action, around this. I mean, just knowing that it's up there carries my spirit. I look out there every morning. I'm sitting down at the
Right.
coffee. I'm right up the
Right.
valley.
Right.
And
Right.
it's very arduous to get up there. But
Mhm.
here's Quentin, who shows up on our calls every now and then. Young man from south of here,
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
and he may be coming through later today. Actually, we
Mm.
talked now about him joining me and going up, and because I thought, oh, this.
Mm.
How do I share this around in this community? Who's going to be interested? Well, he's in my
Right.
general community because he lives within a few hundred miles.
Right.
Um, and I'm just hoping that it works out, that we actually together make that pilgrimage.
Right.
And the next time you're out, we'll do the pilgrimage.
I would, yes, I would love that. I would love that. Yes.
I mean, even because it's arduous. I mean, even if a person didn't make it all the way up, just the impulse to ascend that ladder,
Right. Right. Right.
Oh,
Right. Right.
yeah.
Right. Now, what kind of time does it take you? Now it'd be different. I know for me, but when you say arduous, so you do it all in one day or a few hours or something, or what would it?
It would be a very
It's
full
full
day
full day.
journey
Right.
because
Okay.
of it being so arduous. I wouldn't want to
Right.
go like charging up there, just take your
Right.
time, enjoy it.
Yeah.
I years ago I had a rock shop, and I was exposed to all kinds of stones and rocks and minerals, gems.
Mm,
Well, I'm
mm,
going up here, and suddenly I'm face to face with this rock and this skin on the rock, which was unlike anything I had ever seen in all my years in the rock shop. So it
mm,
turns out this is um, a, a mineralization of components that happen when there's like a pushing together of
the different plates,
really
tectonic
intense,
plates. Yeah.
convergence of planes of stone. And in that convergence zone, it produces this, it's almost like a juice, stone
Mm,
juice, with this
mm,
beautiful
mm,
purple color and everything. So, I mean, that was one of the first things that
mm,
happened on my hike up. And, but finding that stupa, that was the crowning glory. Because what I realized was, like, you circumambulate, nature created this still point here. That's what
mm,
like, this is a still point in the midst of this tremendous geographic swirl. I guess it's all swirling on some time frame,
mm, mm.
very, very slow according to my plan. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then that's just that
Hmm.
ravine. I've got, we call it the chief, this mountain, this volcanic mountain, we basically have 5 volcanic mountains. That's where we are here in Spence's Bridge.
Right.
There's
Right.
so much more here than I have imagined. There
Hmm.
there are stones up there that are what do they call them? Thunder eggs. There's thunder eggs up on that mountain. Here we've got the Murray Creek, which never stops running. It's this water feature, this waterfall. I mean, how magical! I can't believe that this place still, we're a population of like 200 people. It's been going for years and years and years, decades and decades. Well, virtually thousands of years.
Right.
The the uh,
Hmm.
the artifacts that have been found here, and
Hmm.
our own backyard is
Hmm.
one source, are points from prehistoric man, like uh, arrow points, sword, or not sword points, but spear points.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
We're talking tens of
Yeah.
thousands of years old. And I've had the direct experience of finding that. So it's just here I am
Mm.
waxing enthusiastic about Spence's Bridge. So, I don't want people like,
Hey, like,
mine come over here, live here, you know. Let's really get it on.
yeah, well, I do want to experience it. I mean, I'm glad I did get to experience it, and I would like to think I could, would do it again for sure, experience that, because it's pretty, pretty amazing place, pretty incredible, pretty, yeah. So,
Well, girl, we're
I
past 2 hours now, and I'm getting kind of hoarse.
I was gonna say, I think time has, telling us.
For just a couple of old fogies here, that's been a very full encounter.
It's been great. I mean,
Yeah. Thanks
for
for
sure.
showing up.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here and your presentation and all the work and that you put into it. And yeah, no, this has been great. I've got a lot of food for thought here, so appreciate it. Yeah. So
My pleasure.
so hi to Teresa, for your mate there. Yeah, you too, Dwayne.